Hel- Hello everyone. Let me know if you guys can see my screen and hear me well. Meanwhile, let me check if I'm able to hear myself just to confirm that we are good. I already see Ratna. Hi Ratna. Hi Akash. Hi Shubham. Okay, I can hear me well. I think. Hi Karthikeyan. Hi Modern Sanskari. 15 marks for fine. Okay. I think you guys can hear me well. Let me close this window. Cool. So how are you guys doing? So hi, who else? Nikhil, hi Salex, hi Milind, hi Saranya, hi Surya, hi Mahinder, hi Omkar. How are you guys doing? Hi Prashant, thank you for confirming. I see a couple of questions. I'll answer the questions in a bit, but I just wanted to say hi for you all. Hi Ashish, hi Tokyo Walker. So how are you guys doing? This is the usual. If you're new to the channel, this is the usual live which we try to do every month at least once, right? So this is the live for September. So I think the month is going very fast. So I still remember the last time when I live went live, right, and then showed my face. Yeah. So hi Anurag, hi Ishan, hi Siddharth, hi Srinivas, hi Praveen Kumar, hi Hilal. You're from Bangalore? No, I'm from Chennai. I moved to Chennai recently. All good. Yeah, here also everything is good, Karthik. Hi Anurag. Hi Kumar. Yes, I'm also good, Saranya. Explain Kubernetes architecture. Yeah, we'll start the questions in a bit, but yeah, I just wanted to say hi. I just want to see how many people are watching, and then we can go. Okay, there are 35 people watching. I think we should be good. Yeah, so let me answer some of your questions. Let me go from the first, right? So Shubham was asking when Scala or Java is used with Kafka, how it's decided to use Scala or Java with Kafka. It depends, right? See, some people, when they write functional style of code, they would prefer to go with Scala than with Java. But underlying infrastructure is all JVM, right? So Scala is also going to run on the JVM. Java is also going to run on the JVM. So a lot of people prefer Scala because their code or the streaming code which they write, which they want to consume from Kafka, is of functional style, right? So if people are like good with functional style, they go with Scala. If people want to stick with Java, if they want to have an imperative plus functional style, then they stick with Java, right? So Scala is a completely functional language, but Java has both, right? Java supports both, so that's one of the reason people decide, right? If I were to choose either Scala or Java, I would have done that, right? I don't know how people choose it, but sometimes it depends on what instructions you get and you just execute it, right? But yeah, that's what I would prefer. Akash is asking, could you please make a video on SSL certification certificates? Yeah, there are a lot of good videos on SSL certificates, but I'll try to do something on the mutual TLS that is in the plans. But I don't know, I'm not getting time to make videos. So yeah, definitely I'll try Akash. So I'm writing a blog post. I've been writing for months actually. There is a blog post on security which I'm trying to show the evolution right from when I started learning, started coding and things like that. But I don't know when I will complete it. But definitely I'll do something on the SSL stuff, Akash. Uh, Please, a project on event-driven architecture microservice using Kafka and Spring Boot. Um, so yeah, if you had seen the videos in the channel, there are already videos on the Spring Boot and Kafka use case. You just need to collate them and then you just need to connect the dots, right? If I start doing everything for you, then I don't think there is need for you, right? So if you want to just learn everything from what I make, then I don't think you will learn anything new, right? So if you try creating an event-driven architecture and then you get some roadblocks or you get some issues, then definitely ping me and I can help you with that. But if you want me to do everything end to end, and then what will you learn from it, right? I'm just learning something, but you might not learn everything, right? You just might learn whatever I'm showing. So that's why I don't make sometimes, if you had seen, I stopped making end to end videos because a lot of people just ask everything to be made, right? So I would prefer you to do it, or else you would never learn. What else? Nats or Kafka? So Nats, I would say it's pretty much not mature like Kafka, and Kafka has been used and well proven. Nats is used and it's been there for a while, but still I would say Kafka is much preferred because it has more connections with the non-cloud native stuff, right? Nats is basically for the cloud native space, and also you can definitely use it from non-cloud native applications, but still I would say when somebody is not able to move towards cloud, then definitely people prefer Kafka because it's easy to integrate with the Kafka cluster. A lot of time teams have like big data systems, they already have Kafka inbuilt with it. But with Nats, you will have to get a separate deployment, separate infrastructure, everything separated out from a Kafka kind of a setup. Right, so that's when people go with Kafka mostly, but still, if you are in a startup, I'm pretty sure you're already using Nats or you're trying to explore Nats versus Kafka, right? Because it's difficult to manage Kafka when you have smaller teams. Okay, next, what else? Okay, there are too many questions. Explain the Kubernetes architecture. In fact, there is a good video on that, Ashish. Right, so if you want me to do that in like 5 minutes, I don't think I can do that. But I have explained Kubernetes architecture. I think it was good. That's what I suspect. So take a look at these two videos because it's not simple, right? I mean, you cannot explain it with just what do you call a simple page or a PNG kind of an image. You will have to understand different moving parts. There are different things. Everyday things are getting changed in Kubernetes as well. Even this could be like just the kickstart, right? So these two videos will just help you in understanding Kubernetes, but then there are lots of other things which are not covered here because those could be like advanced concepts which you might require when you start working on Kubernetes, right? So I would say take a look at these two videos and then try some hands-on. That's when you will understand things better, right? So looking at a video, I don't think you will understand everything end to end, right? And again, you will have to like go through multiple videos or maybe multiple times. You will have to look at things to understand and get a better picture, right? I want to see Java EE. Still, do you guys use Java EE? I mean, yeah, there are a lot of people still use it, but I don't know. Um, which OS you work in? Yeah, I work in Windows, right? So I have a Windows machine in my office laptop, but I use Mac OS in my personal laptop. So I see best of both the worlds, right? So I still use um, better softwares in both of them. Hi Aniket. Surya is asking, can we expect Kubernetes certification course? So if you had looked at my channel, so I don't generally provide course, right? Because I'm not a trainer as such. I'm just like a developer like you, Surya, right? So I don't think I would create an end-to-end course. Maybe I would have done a lot of good videos in Spring Boot and I created a learning path, but still, I wouldn't say I would create a certification course because I believe everything should be learned by hands-on and you shouldn't be learning something to clear a certification, right? That's why I didn't do much of AWS videos in the channel, but I have done a lot of things in AWS, but still I don't do everything whatever I learn inside the YouTube channel, right? Because a lot of other videos are already present in AWS and Azure, or and now people have started making Kubernetes videos as well, right? That's why in fact I stopped a bit of basics videos and then I do something like an advanced kind of a thing, right? And then I try to do something new, right? If you see most of my Spring Boot stuffs are all like 3 years old or something, right? Because I try to make something new, and after a while it just becomes old, right? The idea of the whole tech primers is to create and try something which is new, which could be a potential for the next gen usage in your space, right? That was the idea of the whole tech primers channel, right? So I wouldn't create a certification course, so please do not expect that, Surya. Hi Priyank. Hi Vishnu, thank you very much. Hilal definitely wants J2W. I can ping my LinkedIn profile. I would not prefer telling it openly, but I would. Okay, well, let me open it in a different browser. I'll ping the link of my LinkedIn profile, right, so that you can take a look. But I would restrain you from asking anything specific to my work because I do this channel as a hobby, so I wouldn't um, prefer you asking something which is specific. That's my LinkedIn profile, so you can take a look at it. What is the role of Kafka in microservices? Hi, Harshavardhan. Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of people use Kafka for storing their state, right? In fact, there is a common misconception where people try to use Kafka like a database, right? When let's say one microservice pushes some messages to other microservice, people try to use Kafka like a database. You push the message into Kafka, and then you don't have to worry about fault tolerance, right? So what if the consuming microservice is down, or what if the producing microservice is down? You don't have to worry about it because there is a Kafka kind of a system. Majorly, people used ActiveMQ or MQ or maybe RabbitMQ earlier, but now people started using Kafka instead of everywhere, right? Even if the messaging system doesn't need to cope up with that much volume, still people use Kafka, right, in the microservices world. But I would say use Kafka when you have huge workload and you have streaming data, right, and you want to process more data and you want to process them in a sequence, right? That's when Kafka is very helpful. But if you don't want to worry about a huge system like Kafka and you want to use only a queue for communicating within your microservices, then you can definitely go for ActiveMQ or RabbitMQ or any queuing system, right? In fact, Nats is another queuing system. I recently made a video on that as well if you're not aware. But yeah, that's where Kafka is used. Kafka is a queuing system, so people use it for pushing messages and consuming messages off of it. Hi Ravindra, how are you? Do we have any monitoring tools for Redis performance? Redis performance, I don't think so. I don't think there is any dedicated tool for performance of Redis. You can monitor the performance of your cache, but I don't know if Amazon provides anything for their Elastic cache, right? Um, fast is See, again, Redis is a product, so I would suggest checking with the Redis team, right? Again, Redis is open source, right, Raghavendra? Sorry, Ravindra. So check with the Redis team. Maybe try checking with them in the Twitter page. Post them your query, and then maybe we can check if they already have a performance tool, or should we even build one? Build one, right? I mean, I don't think it is available right now. Maybe, I mean, who knows? It's already there. Maybe we just don't know. Modern Sanskar is asking Java EE versus .NET Core, your opinion, and also on JS tech stack. Yeah, see, this is like how you have, if you're in India, you have multiple service providers. You have Airtel, you have Jio, you have others as well, right? So it's somewhat similar, right? I don't think you should stick to one. Maybe you can use the only good thing about using a technology stack is you can flip on to any technology stack, unlike our service providers, right? I mean, even here we can do mobile number portability, but still you can stick with only one. But I would say each of them has their own core strengths, right? Java has its own core strength and .NET has its own core strength. Even and now, if you see .NET Core is now compatible with Docker containers, you can run .NET Core inside Linux machines, right? So I would say it's a give and take, right? So you should know when to choose JavaScript, when to choose Java, and when to choose .NET, right? If you crack that puzzle, then I think you can be a better programmer. No, dude, I'm not watching IPL, Ankesh. So I stopped watching cricket when the betting and things happened, right? Some years ago. I used to be a avid cricket fan. In fact, I lost some marks in my 10th standard due to cricket. I used to watch so much of cricket, but then I realized I'm not getting anything out of it, right? So I think when I stopped watching cricket, I started making videos in tech primers, right? But I still do watch the scores after the match is done, so I wouldn't waste 4 hours, but I just spend 10 minutes to watch the highlights. I still follow IPL, right? But not to that extent. Okay. There are too many questions. I don't know how many people are watching. There are 50 people watching. Good. What is KOps in AWS environment? KOps is an operator for managing your Kubernetes cluster. So many earlier AWS used to KOps is like the what do you call elder sibling of Amazon EKS, right? So there used to be Kubernetes operator using which you can deploy Kubernetes inside AWS and manage the whole cluster. But now that is all not required most of the time because you already have Amazon's EKS, right? So EKS provides its own control plane, right? So KOps used to manage that control plane and the whole underlying infrastructure, right? So KOps is an operator for running your Kubernetes deployment in the AWS environment with EC2 and things like that. But then, yeah, now people don't use it, I think. But still, people will use it because they already are in the same KOps kind of an environment. But I don't know how many people still use it. Regarding CKAD certification, how will be the exam environment? Will we be able to test cluster deployment or should write and submit plain YAML files? But not yeah, so the exam is completely hands-on, Omkar. So in the terminal you will have a in the browser you will have a terminal. So in the left side you will have questions. You select a question. I mean, you can select questions, you can navigate and then come back as well. When you have the question, there will be just steps on what needs to be done within the cluster, right? There will be clear instructions on how you need to create an image or what you need to identify, and in the terminal you will have to execute all those, right? So you won't know whether the answer is right or not because you won't be able to validate yourself, right? Because you're doing it in the cluster. For example, you want to identify which is the process which is consuming most memory inside a Kubernetes environment, right? That could be one kind of a question where it's like a debugging question, but you need to run some commands to identify the pod which is having the maximum CPU utilization or the memory, and you need to get that pod name and then you need to put it somewhere, right? So if you don't do it correctly, I mean, you will lose marks, right? I mean, if you don't put it in the exact place they want you to place, all those kind of things will be there. So it's like a mixture of YAML file mix. You need to know Linux, right? I mean, you need to know how to work with Linux. You should open files, you should paste it in a file. All those kind of commands will be there, right? So it's not just plain YAML files, right? Sometimes you will just use a CLI command to create pods in the cluster. You can modify some labels using CLI commands. You don't have to write YAML files always, right? So that's how the whole exam works. There are some YouTube videos which people have done, right? I mean, made on how the whole exam is. So you can try that. Shetty Venkat. Hi Venkat. Hey, your content will be really awesome. Straight to the point. Great job. Thank you, Venkat. Swarup is saying, is it okay to use REST call for inter microservices communication? Should we strictly use orchestrator for communication? No, it depends on your use case, Swarup. Right? If you want to get synchronous messaging, you want to get immediate response, then go for REST calls, right? Where you get synchronous messages. In fact, even with REST, you can have asynchronous. But if you want to have immediate response, then obviously you can go for REST. If you don't want if your system can be reactive, for example, you just place a request in one microservice and that communicates with other microservice, and then you're okay with some latency, or you're okay with not getting the response immediately, then you can go for a system like queuing or queuing systems or anything for communication, right? And you don't have to necessarily use orchestrators. There are different microservices patterns. You can go to microservices.io, where there are different patterns for microservices. There are tons of patterns, right? I mean, it's like huge. So you can just pick and choose whatever you want, Sarup. Ravindra is saying one of your cap theorem video is the best video. Do we have any other alternative theorem or structure? Yeah, there is a new. If you looked at my Ravindra, if you looked at my cap theorem video, I would have. Thanks for the compliment, by the way. Yeah, I spent some time in doing some research and things like that. Let me show. I would have mentioned in the last, right, in the cap theorem video, if you had seen in the end, right, I would have made a point on actually there is a yeah beyond cap theorem, right? So what is beyond cap theorem? I would have explained about what is there for you to do after the cap theorem. Let me show that. Yeah, so this is the next theorem which you should explore, right? The Paselk, right? This is because a lot of people felt cap theorem is not solving or not solving every problem, right? I mean, you cannot put every database into a cap because it looks like you don't get everything out of some database. For example, if you look at Cassandra, you cannot get like all the cap capabilities like catered to it. So that's when people said, I want to have more granular way of identifying, right? That's where if you look at Pascal theorem, it says you will have to have latency also into picture, right? You should consider latency also, right? So that's where it says if partition, then availability or consistency. So if there is a partition, basically if there is a break between your interaction between your nodes, then you should consider availability or consistency. However, if there is a latency, right, then you should either consider you should go with consistency or you should have latency, right? So take a look at that theorem. If you are able to understand, let me know. But if you still want me to make a video, I can definitely do that. It's basically a complicated version of the cap theorem. I didn't want to complicate stuff, that's why I didn't make it, but it's a good way to look at where each individual database stands, right? I mean, you will have more granular ways for defining databases and choosing databases. And that's a good question, Ravindra. What deployment pattern is used for deploying microservices in organization? Most of the time people use blue green deployment. Netflix calls it red black deployment. They also do canary and also A/B testing, right, as a part of their deployment. So there are different ways in which you can deploy things into your environment. But yeah, majorly the easiest way to start off is by doing blue green, right? Can you explain what all production issues comes in Kafka and Kubernetes? I mean, if you want me to explain issues, there will be like tons of issues. You can have FAQs, but I don't know, right? I mean, most of the time, it's all just the messaging contract, right? Sometimes you get messaging contracts, sometimes you don't consume messages, sometimes your offset is like screwed up from the consumer end. These are like consumer specific stuff. So I don't think I can talk about what issues you will get in Kafka or Kubernetes as such, right? When you're designing applications, you can go wrong with the applications, right? With respect to platforms, I don't think I can say or point out to some specific issues, right? Kumar, what should I learn first, clean code or data structures and algorithms? That's a very good question, Faris. So if you want to get interviewed, then obviously you will have to learn data structures. Data structures will help you in just getting into a company, right? But to survive in a company, you have to write clean code, right? So I would say both. But if you want to just get started with coding, then you should go for data structures. But if you're good already with data structures, you know some things with data structures, you know how to code, then I would say go for clean code. That's pretty good when it helps you in creating a practice for you to code, right? I mean, it's pretty good. I sometimes like felt bad because when I started my career, nobody said you should do clean code and things like that. I learned it the hard way, but yeah, go for whatever you think. If you're already in a company, go for clean code. If you're searching for a job, if you're in college or whatever, then definitely go for data structures. Siddhartha says, "Hey Siddhartha, can you guide me how to make a career in AWS cloud?" Yeah, you should learn AWS, right? That's the only way, Siddhartha. I mean, you should do hands-on. AWS provides AWS free tier account. I have made a video on. I think I have created a blog post on the free tier blind spots. Right. Most of the time, what people do is people create free tier accounts and then they just don't know how it works most of the time, right? So I created a blog post on that. Where is it? So there are some hidden things which you should take care. So this is the one, right? AWS free tier blind spots. So go to my profile. I mean, if you don't know my profile, I mean, go to medium.com/techprimers. You can get my profile and then you can check this particular blog post. You can create a free tier account in Amazon. It's valid for 12 months. There are some things which are always free. There are some things which has a limit for every month. You can use that free tier account. Use this blog post to understand how billing works inside AWS, and then you can definitely kickstart your AWS journey by doing hands-on. You will find tons of videos on YouTube, but definitely try those in the AWS environment, or else you will never learn stuff, right? It's just like watching an entertainment video, right? So yeah. How to enable HTTPS in Eureka? Yeah, it's simple, similar to how you enable it in any Spring Boot application, right, Raju? You can check my video on the HTTPS for Spring Boot. So this particular one, you can use the same pattern whatever I have done to secure this Spring Boot application using HTTPS or certificates, and use the same for doing it in your Eureka server, right? Because the Eureka server is going to run in a Spring Boot application, so you can definitely do the same approach. How to prepare for Java Spring Boot interview for 2 years experience? I'm not good at advising you on clearing interviews. I'm good at making you sustain in your job, right? So that's what I think I do better, because I would want you to know things just I mean know things because you need to know it, not just for clearing interviews, right? So I wouldn't say that you should do this, you should do that for an interview. I mean, if you want to learn Spring Boot, I have a learning path for you. You can definitely take that, but I don't think that will um, I mean, I cannot say that that is your go-to for clearing an interview, because if you do this, you can become an architect because it covers each and everything you need to understand in creating microservices, right? Which is more than clearing an interview. Clearing an interview is all about what question somebody asked at that point in time and how your luck was, right? That's what I think clearing an interview means to me. So if you learn, for example, this particular learning path on Spring Boot, you can be better than me. That's what I think, right? I mean, that many concepts are there with Spring Boot, and I have covered most of them. There are more as well, but still, if you cover these, right? I mean, if you know this many, you will be in a better position to know, right, with respect to Spring Boot. So that's what I can say. I don't think I can point you saying use this dumps or use this to clear an interview. Which one is good to process 1 million plus records? Spring JDBC or Spring Data JPA? Using JDBC but thinking of moving to Spring Data JPA. I'm a big fan of uh, Spring Data JPA, but I have used Spring JDBC as well, right? Spring JDBC is much faster than Data JPA, right? If you want to process 1 million records and if you see latencies with JPA, because with JPA you are doing a lot of transformation in the Hibernate layer, right? And these are automatic transformations. So Spring needs to go through a lot of your code to understand what kind of queries it needs to run. So I would suggest explore both and then compare the performance with JDBC with the Spring Data JPA, right? But I'm pretty sure Spring JDBC will be much faster, right? I have used JDBC; it used to be like way faster than Spring Data JPA. Spring Data JPA helps you in writing less code, but yeah, you will have to like trade off between code versus the performance, right? Nikhil. So you choose the Spring Data JPA, I mean, choose Spring JDBC. If somebody asks you why did you choose Spring JDBC, you should be in a position to answer that. And I think whatever I just explained should be able to help you in that case. How to handle the expiry of access token in OAuth? I have got the token from the backend system, but it will expire every after 11 hours. So how I will have to get the token again from the backend? Yeah, so every time you do a call to your destination server, you will have to validate that token, right? So you cannot keep using the same token. One common practice is you can cache that particular token, right? You can cache that token for 11 hours, invalidate the cache for after 11 hours, and then repopulate the cache. But sometimes what happens, let's say your process restarted at the fifth hour, right? Now, after 5 hours, your token is going to be invalid, right? In that case, your destination system is going to say, okay, your token is not good, right? Then you will have to go to the backend system to get the token again, right? So this is the general practice. You can cache it, or you can um, I mean, keep the cache for like 11 hours and then refresh the cache. But still, you will have to have an alternate mechanism where if the token expires, you have to go and pull it again and put it in the cache again, right? That if you follow, I think it will be very helpful. What is reactive programming? So hey, Jack Sparrow. I don't know. I had a friend who have a Jack Sparrow has its. I mean, we used to have a game. We used to play a game when we started our career, right? So he used to have the nickname Jack Sparrow. I don't know if you're Joseph, but yeah. So what is reactive programming? Obviously, reactive programming is similar to a classic example of a reactive programming is if you had been to SBI bank, right? You go and take a token first, and then you go and sit in the space, right? I mean, until your token is called, you don't do anything. So that's what reactive programming is, right? So you don't generally directly get into a bank and then do your processing, but you'll be assigned some uh, what do you call priority, and then you will be asked to do something, right? So that's what reactive is, right? So you react when your token is being called, right? So when your token number is 5 and somebody calls you 5, that's when you go and like do your processing. So that's a classic example of what is reactive programming. Can you do video series to make Pac-Man in Java? Okay, so I don't know if you already have a video. If there is already a video, do you still think I should make it? Yeah, there is already a tutorial on Pac-Man in Java. You should take a look at it. How big data technologies are used in microservices, like separate microservice for big data operations, or it's integrated with other microservices. um, See, if you're talking about big data technologies, then you shouldn't be talking about microservices, right? So you will be using microservices when you want to process data, but you won't directly integrate that with the big data technologies. If you're running a Spark job is not a big data, is not a microservice, right? A Spark job is integrated with the big data technology. So the moment you publish some message into a Kafka queue from a microservice, you're done with microservices architecture, right? So after consuming this from the Kafka topic by a Splunk or sorry by a Spark job, that becomes a big data technology. You cannot directly call that as a microservice, right? Obviously, you will have microservices communicating with these big data systems via queues, right? But you cannot directly say that okay, if you use a microservice, you can directly use it in big data operations and things like that, right? You can use big data technologies for doing operations on the HBAs or whatever. I'm pretty sure you can definitely do microservice communication with the big data systems, but then it will be slower, right? It's going to be pretty slow because you need to execute things parallelly. For example, if you're doing a map reduce, right, in the sense when you're querying something from a HBase table, right, you will have to execute things in parallel because your data could be scattered and data could be stored in different partitions. You will have to get these in parallel, and then you have to combine them and then give it back. When you're using microservices, you will have to have like multiple microservices which are doing these independent jobs, right? That's what big data technologies do in the backend, right? They create smaller batches or smaller chunks which can execute parallelly, and then they can just collate together and then give it back to you. All right, so that's how you can. So if you're creating microservices and then querying big data systems, then obviously you will have to have multiple microservices query different partitions and things like that. Angular or React. So this is like asking you want your um, you want your mouth or your ears, right? So it's something like that. So depending on your situation, you should go with React or Angular, right? So Angular, if you ask me, I have been using Angular for a while. Angular is better when you want to have end-to-end framework ready, right? So you want to have test cases, you want to have code coverage stuff, everything you want to have it set up end to end, right? That's when you go for Angular. React, you can use it along with Angular as well, right? So you want to have a good library, right? So you can use React and then you can integrate that into a plain JavaScript system as well, right? That's where I would choose Angular versus React, right? So if I want to um, have to worry about little of libraries and I want to have an end-to-end system where I can code with TypeScript or whatever, then I'll go for Angular. All right. There are some cases where there are performance issues with either of them, so you should definitely consider that too, Milind. How reactive programming is implemented in Spring Boot. Yeah, so when you're using reactive programming in Spring Boot, obviously you are going to use reactors, right? Spring has a program called actually project called Spring Reactor, right? So Spring Reactor is the project reactor. I think it's called project reactor. It uses reactive streams in the sense you can subscribe to a channel to consume messages, right? So for example, I'm just publishing a message into a channel, right? And I want to consume messages. So you can just subscribe to the channel and then consume it. So unless or until you subscribe to the channel, you won't get that message. It's not like HTTP where you have to have the consuming guy, so this guy is going to publish and the consuming guy is going to consume immediately, right? But with reactive programming, you can subscribe to the channel and then consume whenever you want. If you don't want it, you can unsubscribe. So that's how Spring Boot is going to be. Spring Boot is going to implement reactive programming. You can use the Webflux APIs to consume from a reactive stream, right? What is your take on Micronaut? Yeah, so I tried Micronaut some time ago, right, Karthik? It's a good framework. It's a very lightweight thing. I like the good thing about Micronaut is it's very lightweight because it does ahead of time compilation, so you can solve these dependency issues, loading times, all those kind of things in the compilation time itself. So the compilation takes a lot of time, but then it's pretty good. The only downside I saw with Micronaut is they have their own annotations. They have written everything from scratch what Spring has done, right? So you cannot directly convert an application from Spring Boot to Micronaut, but you will have to do a bit of work, right? So I don't know how many people would directly do it, but I like that framework. I liked Micronaut. better than Quarkus, right? But I feel Quarkus will be a good and an easy way for people to switch from Spring Boot to Quarkus, because Quarkus just brings in existing libraries, uses existing JSR specification and things like that. But Micronaut creates everything from scratch, right? So they have created all annotations, they have created a lot of things from scratch. But the documentation was amazing with Micronaut, right? That's what I felt. That's my take. What's sharding in MongoDB database? So sharding is basically splitting a data and storing it in different what you call nodes or servers, right? So sharding is, if you have like 10,000 records, you split that 10,000 into multiple 5,000s, and then store it in a different place. And then when you're querying, it should be so you can call this as partitioning as well. But sharding is more than just partitioning, right? So it is not directly like 5,000, but then I don't know the underlying technology and whatever they do, but it's just basically splitting data across nodes, right? So that's what it is. Hi Raj, I'm good. How are you? Long time. I'm good. Thoughts on Spring authorization server? Okay. Yeah, so Spring authorization server is the key for integrating that with any of the OAuth mechanisms or any of the authentication providers, right? So most of the time, um, we had it as a embedded implementation, but I think they have created that and then they have extracted and then put it as a separate what do you call microservice. So Spring does that very often, right? They just see what benefit they get out of a library, and then they just extract it out of the existing monolith, and then they just make a new product or make a new library. So I think that's what they have done. So I think I'm not sharing my screen. That just now I realized I did not show you guys what I was seeing. Right? Okay. So I was just looking at these. Uh, okay. I'll take a look at that. But thanks for the pointers, Naveen. Right? So I'll take a look at what is the underlying reason why they created Spring Authorization Server, but I did not look at it. Right? I saw they created something out of the existing one, but then I left it. I was planning to have a YouTube chat so that we can chat and then help more developers. Yeah, see, the only thing is I don't have time for everything, right? So I just go live whenever I find time, and then I spend an hour or something every month. But then if I do this very often, right, it just takes a while, and then it's very difficult. I tried doing it, Saral, right? There are too many people. Everybody has like tons of questions, and it is not fair to keep others waiting when we are talking to one person, right? So I tried it. I mean, it doesn't work, right? I mean, if you're a consultant, then you can definitely try that if you have much time, but I don't think I have that much time to spend. Java future in big data space, most of the developers still prefer Scala. Even technology like AWS Glue don't support Java. Yeah, because AWS Glue is their own proprietary thing, right? They wanted to create their own DSL and things like that. With the big data space, so I don't know if it'll be. It is just fair saying Java is going to be the future or something. You can still run Python scripts inside your Spark jobs, and you can use it in the big data ecosystem. But I wouldn't say that Java is going to be a big thing. It's going to be a mixture of everything. Hi Jack. Thanks for your support on the learnings. Any new video on Podman? Hey Ankit. Yeah, so I made a video on Podman, but what kind of video do you want with Podman? Because whatever videos you see with Docker, you can do the same with Podman as well. Right? So there is nothing different from Docker and Podman. If I want to deploy a microservice to AWS ECS, then can I do it using Windows or Linux required? Yeah, you can do it from anywhere, right? If you have the CLI Shubham, you can definitely do it from anywhere. Oops, there are too many questions. Oh, wow. Have you tried a BPM like Camunda? No, I have. I have been hearing Camunda recently a lot, but I have never tried that Selex. BPM is something which is pretty new for me, and then I have never tried any of the existing tools which are available. But yeah, I'm hearing Camunda for a lot. I mean, in the recent times, a lot of times. What is the difference between Apache Storm and Kafka? Apache Storm is like Apache Spark, right? You cannot compare Storm with Kafka because these are two different things. You can use Apache Storm to consume from Kafka, right? And then you can do streaming. So Apache Storm is like an advanced version of Apache Spark, right? That's what I would compare it with. Can you share your developer journey? How can I get to the level of skills you had? I mean, I think you are. If you look at my LinkedIn profile, it should say. Mm, can you please provide path for how to move to microservices? Yeah, okay. I think I did not share my screen that time when I showed you guys. Sorry for that. So this is the learning path which I was just talking about. So in GitHub, if you go to github.com/techprimers and navigate to the learning path, Spring Boot microservices, I mean, you can definitely be a master in Spring Boot if you just follow all these topics, right? I mean, these are just the videos, whatever I made, and I have linked them here in a fashion which you can easily understand and then go through, right? From the because in the channel, I mean, there are 350 videos. It's very difficult to go through it, but from this learning path, it should be easy for you to, uh, I mean, go through. So I'll just paste it in the chat. You can take a look at from there, Kunal. Redis exporter with Prometheus we can use. Okay, so Saral is saying you can use Redis exporter with Prometheus for getting performance stat. Thank you, Saral. Can you do one video about Spring Boot with Elastic DB? I think I did 3 videos on Elastic, right? But those were all embedded. It shouldn't be any different from how you connect, right? I mean to Elastic. So I would have, yeah, see this, right? I did this video accessing standalone Elasticsearch from a Spring Boot application using create update, and yeah, you can check that particular video. Let me go to the channel and then show you. So this is the video. So if you search for accessing in the Tech Primers YouTube channel, you should be able to get that. Jack, how can we do load balancing using Zool API? How can we do load balancing? So you should be, I think Zool does, if you use Fein clients, you can do load balancing, right? But if you want to do load balance your Zool APIs, then you will have to have a separate load balancer, right? I mean, it could be Nginx or whatever, right? It doesn't, Zool does support only local I mean, the client side load balancing, right? I mean, you should be able to identify what are the different servers which are there in the API, and then you should be able to load balance it, right? There are different properties for it. You can take a look at that. Microservices auto scaling using Eureka server. Microservices auto scaling using Eureka server. I don't understand it. If you're using a platform like AWS, you can definitely auto scale it with the capabilities which the cloud provider provides, right? But I don't understand your question with Eureka server, and then I don't think Eureka server can automatically auto scale. Eureka server can identify and then route you to different instances, but it will not auto scale instances, right? You need a different strategy to auto scale, Sridhar. You cannot like merge different, you cannot merge a discovery service or service discovery microservice into auto scaling. What's the ocean for sourcing data to database? What's ocean? I have never heard about it, Shubham. Data source. I have never heard about it. I don't know. Maybe it's a data lake, right? I'm not sure. EKS using AWS. I didn't get your question, Teja. You're just saying EKS using AWS. I have used it. I have used it last year, but I have not made a video on it. Which technologies you're currently working on? I work on everything, right? It's not like I just work on one specific technology. I mean, I do everything right from UI till backend, right? I mean, whatever you think of with latest and old as well, right? So how to spring metrics best way? You can definitely use Micronaut to get spring metrics and then monitor it, integrate it with Prometheus kind of thing, Subbu. If you search for Micronaut in my channel, sorry, Micrometer, I just got stuck with Micronaut. So Micrometer is one way of getting stats. Yeah, I mean, it provides a lot of good stats from a microservice using Spring Boot, right? If you're using a Spring Boot for all your microservices, you can use Micronaut to export data to Prometheus, and Prometheus can just easily plug into that Spring Boot application, and then it can just get a lot of information about your application, right? Be it dependencies, be it latencies, etc. Right, that's good. Thank you, Surab. Thank you very much. Hi Ramesh. Hi Balaji. Hi Ashish. What are the latest tech and non-tech books you are reading? Not books, then blogs. Yeah. So in fact, I have a video for that, Ashish. Right? I mean, updated. I have like two, three videos for it. How do I keep myself up to date? How do I follow? Majorly, I follow a lot of people in Twitter, right? And also in YouTube, I try to follow all the verified channels, right? And that's how I get to know. I attend a lot of conferences, right? I mean, I try to attend at least. And now with virtual things, a lot of things are free, and I try to attend them, and that's how I get to know a lot of things. Are you expecting any other approach after microservice architecture? That's a very good question, Atul. That's a good question. A lot of people are moving away from microservice architecture, right? And they are now calling it as macroservice architecture or whatever, right? I mean, there are new terms which people are coming up with. People are mixing and matching and things like that. But I think serverless is the next step after microservices, right? I mean, if you look at microservices again, if you want to break them down and you want to get more benefits of the cloud platforms, then serverless is the next, right? And leveraging the cloud platforms and making it effective. How can you achieve concurrency in microservices? It depends on your use case, Aniket, right? I mean, if you, what kind of concurrency are you talking about, right? There are some messages which you can process them concurrently, but there are sometimes messages which you cannot process them in parallel. I mean, so what will happen is you can have a separate queuing mechanism, and based on the type of message, you can put those messages in a specific queue so that they are consumed in an order. All right. So this is nothing to do with microservices consumption, but the producer is intelligent enough to publish onto a queue so that you can have concurrency built in your microservice. So it all depends on the use case. If you provide me a use case, then I can definitely help you with that. Please make videos to depict the system and the flows using industry standards. Depict the systems and the flow. I mean, if see the only thing is I can do something like what do you call a theoretical video, but then it will be boring, right? Already if you see, some of my videos are all theoretical because of the architectural stuff, and if I do architecture, then everybody wants me to show an hands-on right? And I cannot do every video as hands-on video, right? I mean, sometimes you will have to try out, right? With industry standard tools, there are different conferences, like I said, you should definitely go and visit. And I cannot like do every kind of video, right? I'm I just have 24 hours in a day, and then I have to do my job as well, right? So I would suggest you um, referring different sources as well, not just following my channel. I would say you should follow multiple channels to get a perspective of what everybody thinks. I'm not just like a teacher, so that you should follow me only me, right? So you should follow everybody. When we go for design principles in an interview, it is easy to say solid principle came from gangs of four, but when it comes to implementation, it's a different story. So any inputs on that? This is one of the reason why I say you should look at how to sustain, and you should look at how can I make my job better than just clearing an interview, right? I mean, in interview it's easy to say what you can do, but then in reality, like you said, things vary, right? To some extent you can influence with these kind of patterns, but then some of the times you might have to digress, right? Depending on your priority, depending on your what do you call uh, strategy, right? So definitely I mean, you cannot say anything about it, right? I mean, that's how things work. Like I said, I mean, people will ask a lot of algorithm questions in your interview, but then when you're working in your job, you might not use those algorithms, but it will help you in some way or the other to influence some of your decisions and some of your implementations, right? So I wouldn't say you won't directly use everything, but then you might use that in some fashion or the other. But if you're lucky enough to work in some cool team, then you will definitely get it. But if you're working in a team which does only maintenance, obviously you might not get that opportunity. It all depends on your luck, I said. Like I said, I mean it's in your hands as well. You can pick and choose a job, but yeah, you should be very careful. That's the reality. Oh yeah, thank you, Omkar. I mean, I just figured out the second screen. I didn't show you my second screen. I mean, I just connected my headphone so that I can um, speak in a better tone. But yeah, because of that, I didn't. I had to plug out my mouse, so I'm just using the trackpad in the laptop. That's why it's difficult for me to just go back and forth, right, like this. Right. I mean, yeah. But thanks for it. Ravindra is saying Spring Boot 2 or 3 onwards we don't need Docker file, right? If no Docker file, how can we use base images? That's a very good question, Ravindra. Again, this is where Spring is being Spring, right? They want to abstract everything, right? Now, if you want to modify the Docker file, you will have to use the Maven plugin or the Gradle plugin to modify that Docker file. You can pass the base images. Again, you will have to modify that using Maven, right? So that you can inject that in the Docker file. And also you can use your custom Docker file as well. It's not like you don't have to use your custom Docker file. It's just a feature in Spring Boot 2.0, but then you can choose, right? But like you asked, it just removes a lot of flexibility in terms of how you want your image to be, right? But you can definitely do it. I mean, Google out for the documentation for Spring Boot 2 or 3, you will find it. Lilith is asking, can you make a video on explaining the Spring security in depth with its classes and concepts? So if you go to the documentation, all these are explained already, right, Lilith? I mean, it's just a matter of reading it, right? If I make a video on just reading a documentation, it will be very boring. In fact, in my earlier videos, I did that, and people started uh, commenting, right? I mean, it doesn't make sense. So you should definitely go through the documentation. A video would be very boring, and I'm pretty sure you will get bored as well. Take a look at the Spring Security documentation. That is the best way to start with for in-depth classes and concepts. Hi Chaitanya. Will service mesh best fit for microservices architecture? Any alternatives? That's a very good question. So yes, service mesh will definitely fit when you are doing repetitive tasks in multiple microservices. For example, monitoring, logging, your authentication, authorization. So definitely service mesh is going to be a benefit. But right now, what's happening? The service mesh space is clogged with multiple service meshes. Everybody is trying to win the service mesh war, and unfortunately, the war is still in progress, right? I mean, there's no end to the war of service mesh. If you Google out for service meshes, if you want me to make a video on service mesh, let me know. I can definitely do it. What is the current state of service mesh? What was the past and the present and things like that, and the future? But there is a war going on with service mesh in right now, with multiple people trying to create their own service mesh and claiming that's what is the future. But it's a good thing. Somebody has to win, but people are agreeing that everything will coexist. So yeah, it's definitely going to help, and it's going to be there. It's just a matter of using whatever service mesh you want for your cloud provider or for your deployment architecture. How to become rich with coding? Like I said, I mean, I don't think I'm the right person to answer that question, right? I can help you with understanding code, and I can help you with making you better with coding, but I don't think I can help you with making money or getting a job with it. Harshvardhan asking regular question but need some help. How to improve logical thinking, debugging skills, and DS and algos? Yeah, it's complete hands-on thing. Like whatever. One thing is, if you had tried doing whatever hands-on I do and whatever hands-on I show in your laptop, then you can be better, obviously, right? Your thinking will improve. The way you debug is going to improve because you will face some issues. I always face issues. I mean, if you had seen my older videos, I face a lot of issues while recording the video, and then I have to debug live, right? And then I have to like think from a different perspective. So that helps as well in improving debugging skills. If somebody is stuck with an issue, go and help them rather than just walking away from an issue. You should go and help them. That's where you can make your debugging skills better, and then it'll help you in bringing in logical thinking as well, because somebody else might think in a different perspective, you might think in a different perspective, and that will help you in understanding what they think as well, right? DS and algos, you will have to definitely code, or else you cannot learn. What is your favorite tech YouTube channel? Tech in the sense, I mean, nowadays people are calling unboxing channels as tech YouTube channels, right? In fact, when I created this whole YouTube channel, I did not find any tech YouTube channel very inspiring, right? That's why I created this tech channel. There is a channel called Fireship, I think. Let me search and then show you. Yeah, everybody has a favorite. I feel this is one of the channels which is providing like good short stuff, right? For example, Kubernetes explained in 100 seconds, right? You can within 100 seconds you can get to know it, but not everybody will be in that pace to understand it, but I can understand it. If you are in a good fast-paced learning mode, then you can definitely understand it, right? But if you but this video will not be sufficient for you to understand Kubernetes end to end, but it's a good way for you to kickstart your Kubernetes journey, right? So this guy makes similar kind of videos. Everything is like short and sweet, and it's to the point and better than what I do, right? I mean, this is the best YouTube channel I have seen right now, all right? He makes very less videos, but then all these are like to the point, all right? So 5 steps. So he has like what 400K subscribers, right? It shows up. Um, that's what I think is quality. It's not just making multiple videos and then showing with like so many videos, but making less number of videos and then keeping it to the point. But it may not help you in like doing everything, but then it helps you in kickstarting your understanding of that. So if you don't know what is Kubernetes, you can just spend 100 seconds in understanding Kubernetes, right? Rather than just watching a 10-minute video or a full 1 hour course or something, right? I'm not a fan of courses which has like 1 hour 2 hour video. You cannot sit for the whole 1 hour 2 hour, right? I mean, let's be honest, that's the truth, right? I mean, you will pass it and then you will go out. When you come back, you will not remember what was covered, and then that's what happens most of the time. So I like Fireship, right? So hi Sai. I use Istio as a service mesh, but it's not working when I use Minikube in local development. Can you please make a video on this topic? Yeah, Desi boys, I am trying to do Istio video. My Google Cloud account got expired, so I'm just waiting for a time to start the whole Kubernetes what do you call hands-on, right? So if I create an account, it will be there only for a year. So I just want to utilize that time efficiently. So I will not create it until I want to try out. So I'll definitely do a Istio demo video that's pending. I made a video on the Istio architecture if you have seen, but the Istio demo video is pending. So definitely I'll try that. In Minikube, I think you cannot try out everything because you will have to integrate with load balancers and things like that. Maybe I don't know if Istio supports all those kind of features in Minikube, right? And that's where Service Mesh is for, right? Try out in Google Cloud, right? If you want to try out, it's a free account. You can get $300 credit for a year. I can able to enable Spring Boot with HTTPS, even that Eureka also, but Eureka register URL is still HTTP. It's not considered as HTTP. Then check out the documentation, Raju, right? How you can do that. Definitely, there should be a property using which you can enable it. I would like to start learning AWS. Is it good way to start with Docker and Kubernetes since I have knowledge on Docker? I'm not sure how it would help me to learn AWS. Yeah, so AWS is a ecosystem and Docker and Kubernetes are like small parts, right? You will definitely use Docker and Kubernetes inside AWS, but AWS is much more than that. If you want to try out Docker and Kubernetes inside an AWS environment, you will have to learn the basics of AWS, how authentication works, how you can, what are the different services, what are the basic services. So start off with learning the basics of AWS and then try out creating a EC2 instance, try installing Docker in it and then try out. Then later you can do Kubernetes because these are separate things, like Docker and Kubernetes are separate frameworks or patterns, and then you will have to learn AWS separately, right? Just learning Docker and Kubernetes will not help you in going into AWS because AWS is much more than that. How to set? Okay, so this is like a very in-depth question, Banu. I mean, I would suggest you to Google or check it in Stack Overflow. I'm not a search engine to answer every question like these, right? I mean, I don't think so. I can answer this. I mean, I will also have to Google out, buddy. Is it better to use Commander for microservices orchestration? Orchestration? Any alternative for synchronous communication? Uh, no, I have never tried, but I heard from a lot of people that Camunda helps in orchestrating a lot of these stuff, Chaitanya, but I've never tried. I mean, a lot of people do manual stuff, but then again, manual comes with a cost, right? You will have to write the code and then maintain it. But yeah, if Camunda solves that purpose, then definitely you can try Camunda. Okay. What's the next? REST or GraphQL? What is the future? Obviously, it depends on your use case, Sai Naresh, right? Sometimes you might create a GraphQL API, but then the consumer might want a REST API, right? Then what will you do in that case? So GraphQL provides a layer over REST using which you can decide what data you want to see, right? I like GraphQL because of the flexibility it provides. So I can directly say it's the future, but I don't think GraphQL is going to be the only protocol or the way in which you're going to consume, right? Both will exist. right? It's going to be there for a while, but GraphQL helps you in deciding how much amount of data you want to pull, right? Rather than the server deciding it, the client can decide how much amount of data they want. So in that sense, GraphQL is better, right? So there's nothing like future. So you will have still REST in GraphQL. Two networks are there. Okay, two networks are there, and one service is one network, and the other service is the other network. Okay, but the service call from network A is going to network B, but the response is not coming from B to A. What could be the reason? The call is going to the B and then B is not coming back. So there could be a firewall within the network B, right, which is preventing you from coming back, which is preventing you from the request coming back, right? Obviously, when the request goes to B, that the connection is going to be closed by somebody. Either network A or the service A closes the connection, or the network B or the service B closes the connection. You will have to see from the network B's perspective. You cannot do anything from the network A or service A's perspective. So the issue could be from the service B. So now you guys are asking me debugging questions which you got in production. Okay, when we use PySpark in Spring Boot microservices, what are the opportunity in the market? No, I don't think I can say like that, Jack. I'm not an expert or a advocate in job market, right? To say okay, this is what is going to happen. It depends on the use case. It depends on the job requirement. It depends on the company. There are so many factors which are there. I don't think I can answer this straight away. Any video series on Prometheus? There are a couple of videos I think on Prometheus. Sorry, I think I tried using Prometheus separately and also with Kubernetes, right? I'm underneath, but I don't think I can make Kubernetes Prometheus videos. The documentation is good and it's pretty easy to set up, right? And most of the time, I don't think we need to set up Prometheus ourselves, right? Somebody is going to set it up for you, and then you're going to just consume it. You're a good teacher, bro. Thanks a lot for your good stuff. I was struggling to find how the industries are deciding DBs, and you helped here. Same way, do we have anything to decide for cache and micro? Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, the next video is on caching. Ravindra, I don't know when I will publish it. I'm working on it. Yes, that's going to be another awesome video, I think. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just trying to put more effort in the content rather than the number of videos. I'm just trying to make it relevant for our jobs. That way, we can make it much more relevant to what we are doing, right? So, yeah, thanks for the compliment. Yeah. Hi, Himanshu, how are you? CI/CD for serverless, can we have videos on it to manage the serverless project? Sure, definitely. I mean, I can definitely do that. Try searching in YouTube, Himanshu, first, right? If there are any videos on the CI/CD part for serverless, I don't think it's any different from what we do in the current space. It's just a matter of pushing the file into S3 bucket and then running one more command to push from the S3 bucket to the Lambda, right? If you're using Lambdas, right? And most of these are CLI commands. So if you're already using a DevOps platform like Azure DevOps, you can integrate the CLI directly. If you're using code deploy or code pipeline in AWS, then you can use these as separate commands and integrate them. Right. If you're using Jenkins, you can use Jenkins pipeline and then write Groovy script to call those CLIs, and those CLI can do those job for you. So it's just a matter of integrating new steps into your pipeline. Right. Hi Aman, any suggestions for someone who wants to switch careers to IT? There is a lot of pressure to put fake experience on resume. Do you know of any clean way? I love your channel. Thank you, Aman. Like I said, I mean, I try to help people in making your current job and then understanding new technologies much better. Right? It may not help you in clearing an interview, but it will help you in making a better developer and in understanding and learning things much faster. Right? That's the idea of the whole thing. If you're trying to switch career to IT, you will have to definitely understand the basics. Right? If you have good and strong basics, then I think you cannot be like going wrong anywhere. Right? Maybe you're not just clearing interviews, but then it's just a matter of your luck, right? Identifying a company which just shoots and then trying to go there, right? Or try out some more and more projects, open source projects, and then use that project learning experience as a hands-on experience, and then that should help you, right? Fake experience, I think everywhere there are alternates, right? It's not just a matter of getting job. There are like fakes in everything. Even in the product I buy, I don't know whether it is fake or not, right? So I don't think, I mean, we should discuss things on fake experience and things like that. We should just concentrate on what's better for us, right? Because it's all on you, right? Because it's not just like a one-time thing. You are just going to use that for your career, right? If you're trying to get a fake experience, you will not survive in your job, right? I mean, that's what I think. Even if you get a fake experience and if you got a good job and if you tried learning after that, that fake experience is nothing. It just got you a job, but you are good in your learning in the future, right? So I would say learn and understand your basics and make it matter, right? That's what will get you sustain in your career. Is Kubernetes K8s a specification? Things like micro K8s, K3 8s, or specification implementation of K8s? No, K8 Kubernetes is an open source platform, right? And K3s, these are all implementations and inspirations of K8s. So Kubernetes is a platform completely. It's not a specification, right? Specifications are mostly like just paper, on paper stuff, right? Or good practices, right? Kubernetes is basically a deployment. It is more than a specification. It has a lot of specifications inside, but it's just a deployment platform, right? Bro, is Google Go worth learning? Yes, definitely, right? So that's another thing which I learned some time ago. Now I forgot. I tried learning Google's Go programming language when I was in college. I remember Go got launched that particular time, right? 10, I think 12 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. 12 13 years ago. It's a good language when you're working with system, a lot of system interactions and things like that. Of course you can create microservices with Go, but yeah, it may not be that easy like how you do with Spring Boot, right? You will do things in a different fashion with Go, but it's very fast. It's like lightning fast, right? I mean, if you compare it with Java, it's going to be lightning fast. That's what I can say. It's a good language to learn. If you're learning something new, definitely go after your TypeScript, right, Ratna? What is the difference between Keycloak and OAuth 2 authentication? So Keycloak is an implementation of your OAuth 2, right? OAuth 2 is a specification which says this is how you should do authentication, and Keycloak is an implementation of it. Nitish, PDF on Google Cloud Platform. Parag, what kind of question is this? I don't get it. Can you be elaborate with it? Hi Raj. I tried running Docker multi-stage file in Podman, but it was giving error. Could you please make it? Okay, okay. But I saw that they are able to do it, Raj. I don't know if you tried with the latest version. I can definitely try, right? I have the multi-stage version, but definitely I try that. I'll try that, Raj. I will let you know. Okay, I think there are too many questions. Okay, I'll try to maybe answer within whatever is there, but yeah, it's been already an hour, I think. Get more information about solid principles for programming. There are already existing informations, buddy. All right. On solid, if you Google out for solid principles, there are a lot of videos on what are solid principles. If you know about Uncle Bob, you can definitely watch his videos on clean code. If you have O'Reilly subscription, definitely use that. If I put solid, what is there are tons of videos, right? I mean, you can see that there are a lot of people who have done it. So I would say go for the basics there. Is Spring in Action a good book for learning Spring? I don't know because these days a lot of things are changing a lot, right? I mean, Atindra. I prefer going into the documentation and learning stuff. So what I do is I try to build something and then when I hit some obstacle, then I go to the documentation and read. I don't generally read the documentation from the start, but I try to learn things in the way I prefer it to be. Some people do it in a different fashion. I try to go and deep dive, and then I try to do it with just documentation and things like that. Will Nest.js get popular? This is like asking, will Corona go away, right? So I don't know, right? I mean, it's like when I joined, I will say an example, right? I mean, when I joined my career into 2010, right? I mean, 10 years ago, people said like, I mean, Java is like going away, right? I mean, it's still not gone, right? And again, people can argue that it will go away soon, but I don't know when, right? That's what is the reality. So it's the same here as well. Maybe there is a better framework which will come and replace Nest.js. We don't know. Currently, Nest.js is pretty good. Any plans to make Quarkus tutorials again. I don't know, because it's if I do Quarkus with Quarkus, it's going to be like Spring Boot videos, right? I got bored with Spring Boot videos. That's why I started doing architecture videos, Pratama, right? But yeah, if you still have any use case, I mean, I feel it's easy with the documentation. It's almost similar to what Spring Boot does. Right? I mean, it's not that complicated. For concurrency, this is the use case. Got two instances of account service. Amount gets deducted from a endpoint. Okay. How can these individual servers will know that there is a synchronized block? So the consuming service shouldn't be worrying about it, right? The this should be this should be done or taken care by the uh, Okay, so you're saying that one service is going to get detected from an endpoint. How can these individual services know that there is a synchronization block? So in this case, instead of doing a REST call, I would directly do a push the message into a queue, and that central guy deciding the detection logic, right? Instead of having multiple microservices deciding that, if you still want to do that, then you will have to have a way to synchronize these two, right? You cannot directly, I mean, like you cannot directly call from both these microservices and get it, right? I don't know. The consuming microservice should still do that, from what I see. The account service should get a message from you on how much you should detect, right? Not the exact money, right? The consuming guy should decide and then tell you whether it is eligible and whether it was detected or not, right? Rather than you giving what is the amount, the account service should do that calculation, right? That's what I think. An account service should have a thread to do that logging. Hi Sunny, I'm good. How are you? Thanks for asking. Is there any video on the concurrency concepts in Java 8 or completable futures? No, I don't have any videos, Teja, but I think in YouTube you have a lot of videos. If you search for completable futures, right, you should definitely get a lot of videos. I have seen videos in from different people there. Just check that, Teja. Next question: how to send request to SQS queue and then receive response on it? Yeah, you should use the AWS SDK, right? You should check the documentation. It's a pretty easy way. I mean, you just need to call their API and that's it. If you're using the SDK, it's just a single command. Waiting for, yeah, it's been a pending thing, Ragulan. I know the micro front end video is pending. I have that deck prepared, but yeah, I just need to add some more use cases. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show Swiggy, or I don't know which website is a universal website. I'm trying to pick a universal website which follows micro front ends, right? I'll let you know. I mean, yeah, it's, like I said, it's going to be slow, but the quality is going to be okay. I think that's what I'm concentrating on these days. Please make a video on senior Java developer interview questions. Like I said, Sam, I mean, if you had followed the video, I'm not going to make any interview specific videos. Did you attend Spring One Dev Conference and your thoughts on it? Yeah, Naveen, I attended it. It was too much for me because there were too many topics parallelly, and all the videos are now available, right? It's pretty good. I mean, that's another reason why I attend Spring One, right? I mean, it's pretty good. Some of the videos, I mean, some of them I know already, so it's okay. But it's a good way for us to kickstart our journey into Spring, right? It's pretty good. I liked their magic show. They had a magic show, live magic show in the social section. So I liked that. I was looking for that. I mean, it was pretty good. It was dope. Best way to write dynamic queries, I think. Okay. Best way to dynamic. I'll just finish off with these questions. Don't post more questions, people. I mean, we'll take questions next month again. Best way to write dynamic queries in Spring Boot. Is there a way? Git project, please search using diff parameter from user. Requirement is search using diff parameters from UI. Okay, so if it is dynamic queries, you can, if you're using a database, you can definitely use Hasura kind of a system where you can get dynamic GraphQL APIs. But if you want to just have queries, I don't think there is any system which can dynamically create queries, right? You can use Spring Data JPA, which can create queries for you. But if you want to expose API, you cannot use Spring Boot directly. You will have to have, for example, AppSync, right? AppSync does the same thing in AWS, which is similar to Hasura, right? Which can expose APIs from your database. Yes, Omkar is asking, Seems GCP was down in some regions yesterday. Twitter wasn't able to show some stats regarding followers. Probably chaos engineering not used sufficient. Yes, Omkar, I also read about it. In fact, even today I was checking Google, gmail.com and suddenly it was not. I don't know if it was only my user, but I saw it was not working. But yeah, it could be. I don't know. I found I was looking at their status report, status dashboard, to see what issue brought things down, but they did not expose it, right? I mean, they were not transparent. Maybe they just are doing root cause analysis to identify what happened, but I'm just looking forward to see what happened, right? To bring so many things down. Their Google Suite was down, Google Meet was down. It's interesting to see how cloud providers are taking these things. Can you make a video on distributed system using Spring? So there is already a video on distributed system using Spring, buddy. I mean, that's one of the most popular video I will show you. Sorry, I think I have to go to my channel. So this is the video, designing microservices using Spring Boot, Spring Cloud, Eureka, Zool. This is an end-to-end video. If you follow these two videos, you will know what is microservice end-to-end, and I have shown an implementation. I don't think there is a better video than this. Now I think you could find good videos. But I did this 3 years ago, right? I mean, you can expect the quality of the video at that point in time, right? Don't expect the quality to be like the latest ones, but still I try to make it in a better fashion, and it's one of the best videos and the best videos I ever made. How do you balance work during COVID? I mean, it's very difficult to be honest, but and that's the new normal. What else can I complain? I'm just getting salary, so I have to work like you. Could you please make a video on the payment gateway integration like Razorpay with Spring Boot? I think there is already a video on YouTube. I saw somebody doing it, so you should check that, Balakrishna. What are your views about Warden framework for Java developers, Sharif? Is it worth learning because JavaScript front-end frameworks are dominating nowadays? Yeah, that's the reason, right? With Warden, you won't get all the flexibility. You can get UI out of the box created with the Warden, but yeah, you cannot do all those kind of changes what you can do with JavaScript, right? You cannot apply patterns, frameworks, CSS and things like that, much CSS and things like that. If you want to have a quick UI with a Spring Boot as a backend, you can go with Warden or JHipster, right? But yeah, that's the reality. Start any new series like full stack web application using Spring and Angular, etc., and any interview questions and answers. Like I said, I mean, I'm not a professional trainer to create courses or full web series. I try to find what is new and what is informative, so that you can find it useful. Right. I mean, if I want to make a course, I would rather made money by just making Udemy course or something. It's just a matter of, and I'm not getting time, to be honest, right, Shankar? We'll see. Thank you, Sai Naresh. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your efforts and time to make your wish. Yep, thank you, buddy. Thank you very much. Please try to make a video on Spring Boot, Spring Security, or totally based on practical approach and design from scratch. I think there is already a video, Sanjay, but I don't know if it is, if I did from scratch or design an application from scratch. So the video which I was showing right now, this video, this is from scratch, right? And there is another video on OAuth which I made. You can integrate those two videos to make it work, right? I mean, I don't know why you guys are not merging two videos and then come up with your own idea, right? I mean, and expecting everything to be made by me. But yeah, thank you, buddy. Thank you very much. Thank you, Atyendra. Thank you very much. All the best to you as well. Is really Zipkin server useful for log tracing? We use ECS where we deploy three services in three containers across availability zones. How can I make sure all the applications are published to the same Zipkin? Yeah, obviously you will have to have a Zipkin server. If you want to have everything hosted in and pushed into a single instance, then obviously you will have to have Zipkin. If you have Splunk or something, then definitely you can do that as well, right? Post it into a Splunk instance, or if you're using Datadog, you can use Datadog. If you're okay with CloudWatch, then you can use CloudWatch as well. So there are different ways in doing it, right? I mean, you may not, you will have to tweak Zipkin and you will have to configure Zipkin to push into a central server if you are using Zipkin in ECS, right? Thank you, Milind. Thank you. You too. Stay safe. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to end the stream in a few minutes because it's already like almost 1.5 hours. Can we expect any video on making REST call to get to create a project with input parameters names? No, I don't think so, Ravindra. There is a good documentation from GitHub, where they have a GraphQL API now to create all these, right? So try exploring that. Google for GitHub GraphQL API. One of the examples you gave, Yahoo Finance API is not working. Can we get the latest version? So if Yahoo Finance API is not working, try using the Rapid API, right? And also in the comment section, somebody said an alternative, right, Vijay? I don't know if that works. Check for the comment section in that video and then use it. Or you can use any API. Search for public APIs and then use it. So, for example, Rapid API is one public API. I have showed that in the video. You can consume any API, right? It's just a matter of using some API, right? All right. So use that. Yeah, use this video to identify a consuming API. Can I use Firebase for production chat application? Yeah, a lot of teams use it. A lot of companies use it, right? I mean, for pushing messages from Firebase to their app instantly, right? But it's just a matter of cost, right, Navneet? It's a serverless database. You should check the cost if that works out for you. After Java 8, which version is more stable? Java 11 is more stable from what I see. A lot of people are using Java 11 now. You should do that. Thank you very much, Omkar. Thank you very much for your good words. Thanks for your time. So educate. Yep. Thank you. Very good content. Waiting for more. Yes. Thank you very much. Yes. That's what is my idea, to surprise people, right? I mean, you should always learn something new, right? Like I always wanted to learn something new, and I'm pretty sure some of you wanted to always learn something new. That's why I try to make something new and then surprising, right? What are your views about big data technologies? Big data technologies are like normal, right? I mean, it's not like how we used to envision earlier. Not every system is going to be a big data technology specific system, but it'll be there. It's going to be there, Sharif. All right. It's going to exist there. Thank you. I think I'll end the stream in a bit. I just want to say thank you for joining the stream. It's been a while. It's been a month almost now since we did the stream. Right now there are 39 people. Cool. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope this was useful, even the live sessions. Right. I'll meet you again in the next live. If you're not subscribed to any of, I mean, I think I have an Instagram as well. I forgot to put the Instagram uh, icon here, but follow the Tech Primers channel in any of the platform if you are not following. Right. I have a Telegram group. There's a Facebook page, Twitter page. Of course, there is a GitHub page as well. So do subscribe there, and then we will see if there is anything. Ping me in Twitter, right? If there is anything offline. Thank you, Navini. Thank you, Jack Sparrow. Can you show us an example from autocomplete with Spring Boot? Um, like I said, I mean, there are good examples of autocomplete. It's nothing specific to Spring Boot. If you go to YouTube and search for autocomplete, you can definitely get good APIs for it, right? I mean, if you still didn't find it, ping me in Twitter, Teja, right? I will definitely try. I really appreciate your efforts. How you came across each question and answering patiently. Thank you, Sharif. It's a good thing that I have less subscribers, right? So that I can answer everybody's question. The moment I get more subscribers, I mean, it's going to be difficult. So I just want to keep it this way. It's a good thing. Can you make video on Saga design pattern? There is already a video, Vijay. There is already a Saga pattern video. If you go to the channel, search for Saga pattern, you can find it. Thank you, Ravindra. Thank you for asking good questions. Thank you everyone for asking good questions. I mean, I also learn a lot of things from you guys, right? I mean, it's not like a one-way street. I also learn a lot from you from the live sessions. Thank you for that. What are the technologies need to learn in Java for the professional who is having 13x experience? Whatever is new, I would say streams, right? I mean, reactive streams, Chaitanya, go for it. Also in design patterns for microservices. Sure, Vijay, definitely. Cool. Thank you, Teja. Thank you, Ashish. I think I'll stop the stream. I hope it was useful. Have a good weekend. I think there is one day left, right? If you are from a different part of the world, enjoy the rest of the day. And I think I'll meet you again in the next video. Like I always say, if you like the video, go ahead and like it. If you want me to make more videos on any specific topic, any new thing which you come across, ping me in Twitter or in any comment section. I'll definitely look at it because I read each and every comment. Even if it is bad, I read it and I try to correct my style. But yeah, thanks for subscribing and watching my videos. Meet you again in the next video. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.